I identify myself as a lesbian.
I identify as lesbian.
I identify as bisexual.
Identify as a lesbian.
I identify as whatever fluid, whatever anyone else wants to identify me as. Doesn't really matter.
Identify as myself. I don't like labels. I don't need to be boxed in, so I'm just me.
I identify myself as straight.
I identify myself as straight.
And to me, bisexuality is definitely on a spectrum. I think attraction and love is on a spectrum in general. And I think that a lot of other people try to codify it and think that it's strange and makes them nervous. But for me, it's just the connection you make with anybody, regardless of gender.
And with bisexuality, I don't necessarily believe in the beliefs of it. I think they're confused. I think it's a phase.
Bisexual people have no preference. They actually just desire or fall in love with the person and not their sexuality. I think that's secondary to them.
I believe that bisexuality is not a phase. However, it makes me very nervous because of how many options people will have to either cheat or leave me for more people.
I think in my experience, especially if you're a lesbian, like bisexual was that phase before you became full-blown lesbian. So for people, and I'm speaking for myself, but as a lesbian, if I first encounter bisexual, I'm like, okay, are you bisexual as in you truly are interested in men and women, or you're interested in women and this is like your slow transition into like becoming full-blown lesbian? I mean, that's weird. It's like,
No, that's how I was. I used to say I was bi, and then I was that was my mechanism to be like, no, I'm not fully gay. And then
to like just get your feet wet.
It's a coping mechanism.
I think that's why it's difficult to have labels though, because it's like people use that because they feel easier when they're in a middle period where they're maybe like finding out that they're a lesbian. They're like, oh, well, let me just say I'm bisexual. It's easy when they just don't say I'm trying to find out what I like, who I'm attracted to, who I am. So then that label gets attached to that period when some people just genuinely feel that way right out the gate. Like I'm attracted to women and men and I'm bisexual, and that's why labels are kind of tough to say.
It could be flip side too, just a straight girl that wants to try to be with girls, but she knows like she wants to be with a guy.
Yeah.
That's that's the part that I don't like, is that a lot of girls, because I've seen it, they'll just hook up with girls at a club because it looks cool. That's not cool. Like, I can't take you seriously. And it's just like you're confused, which is fine if you're not in a club. But I think that you're confused as a person, and you should sort that out before then, like, getting into
Before assuming the label, right? Just be like, I'm straight, hook up with your
I'm
girls.
bisexual. Like, you don't have to say it then.
Right.
Don't put that label on yourself.
Kara, I think you should weigh in on this.
I think actually it's been more complicated to say, oh, I'm bisexual, I'm this or that. And going back when I told my parents, I actually didn't even use that term. I was like, oh, I have a girlfriend, I'm dating a woman. And they were like, oh, so you're bisexual. And I think that's caused more confusion. And if I could go back, I probably would, and if I could convince my parents, I'd be like, Mom, Dad, I am gay. That's it, because it's confusing because there are people that misconstrue that word, or it's a confusing term. Like, what is that? Does it mean you're equally attracted to men and women? Any man or woman you could be with? Does that mean if you end up in a relationship with a woman and you, let's say, stay in a committed relationship till the end of time, does that mean you're now a lesbian? Like, it's like who decided this term, who created it, and at the end of the day, why does it matter? Just like do who you want, be with who you want, and that's that.
Yeah, but I think it's hard for parents because it's not an easy thing, especially if you were raised in a strict family. It's not something that they have to be accepting of that. So then when you bring a girl home and they're accepting of that, and then you bring a guy home, like, that's really hard.
Yeah.
It's like, I think people crave consistency, so like it's your life, so you're thinking, well, I like this person, I'm with this person, but now I like someone else, and that's a natural progression of time. But for your parents or your friends, they see you with somebody, and then to them, like 2 weeks later, you're with somebody else, let alone a man when you were just with a woman. So it's kind of they're trying to make sense of it through their lens, but to you, it's just kind of natural to who you are. So
Yeah.
it all depends the person that's really looking at it, I think.
Tells me like I'm bisexual, and like I would add straight out, like I would just ask them, are they afraid of simply because family situations are actually the ones that limit our choices and who we want to be, especially like, more so than anything else. So when I ask them, are you bisexual because you're worried about your image and what your parents will like, just to please your parents? Because I pleased my parents at first. When I first came out, to please my parents, I told them I'm bisexual and I'm still into men. But in reality, I was 100% gay. It's just I had to associate
Easier
myself.
for them to take.
Yes, I had to identify myself exactly. It's like a coping mechanism for them more than it is for me. I already know what I want.
It's hard for people because we talk about this spectrum, right? There's a spectrum, and I think for most people, you lie towards one end or another. Like you're more interested in women or you're more interested in men, and I think that's pretty general. But then there are these people that are in the middle and kind of float between. And for people that are sitting on the outsides, it's hard to understand. Like how can I know that I am more interested in women, so how can you tell me that you're feeling both? Like that's odd. And I think that's why it's difficult for people who lie on the outer sides of the spectrum to really understand the middle.
I personally don't feel too much from any of them because I don't really talk about it. I'm not like, hi, my name is Kara, this is my girlfriend, but I also have dated guys. And
Bisexual.
Right.
Yeah, I actually don't. I guess you could say I let people create whatever perception. So a lot of people are like, oh, you're a lesbian. I'm like, sure, okay, like whatever. Like I don't really care. And then I am more combative. Well, not even combative, but I'm going to correct someone if they say, oh, well, you're just like going through a phase. Like you just, of course, like, well, actually, I've been with my girlfriend for 4 years, so I don't think you date someone for 4 years as a phase.
Fun.
Yeah, right. So.
I like to make my life
Yeah, that's the only time that I'll say something, or if people want to get a better understanding, especially people that knew me growing up, they're like, oh wait, but you dated so-and-so and so-and-so, which are guys, and I have a girlfriend. I'll be like, yes. They're like, so, are you gay now? Are you this? And then I'll say, oh, well, actually, I just whatever. I'm me. I have a girlfriend. Doesn't mean my relationships previously were anything less or were, covering up deep inside feelings. Those were those were people I wanted to date, and now I'm dating a woman, and that's that.
I don't face discrimination. I think it's a little bit of confusion in
Yeah.
relationships that you've had prior to being with a woman. You know what I mean? It's the prior relationships. It's like, oh wait, we went to high school together, and like you said, you dated this guy, and it's like, okay, I have to go through this whole thing with you. Like, this is not a phase. Like, it's the prior relationships you had before finally identifying yourself as who you are right now.
And explaining probably to the guys that you dated before.
That too.
Be better, like, did I do something?
Is it me?
Was I a thing?
That's the worst. It's like it's really not about you. And the way
Yeah.
you're performing.
Would you date a bisexual guy?
No.
Why?
Because if you're attracted to men, then like I wouldn't want to be with a guy that has been with a man.
I think it's more
Or
serious.
when I'm out, if I think a guy's cute and then he thinks a guy's cute, like no, that's weird.
But lately it's been really difficult because bisexuality has been trending. So it's like
Exactly.
hard to determine, are you figuring yourself out or are you following the trend that's
Right.
cool right now? No,
Exactly, because
No.
now everybody thinks that it's cool. Girls think that it's attractive to do, and that it's because it's gotten a lot of everybody's been more I think accepting of it in the past year. Now everybody can get married to whomever they want to. So and there's clubs and things like that. But for me, that's like I can't take it seriously only because I've seen the struggle that people go through in order when they are gay. I have gay best friends, and I have my sister's engaged to a woman.
Really?
So it's just like to see what she's gone through just to be with who she wants to be. I can't take it seriously because I've seen her struggle. It wasn't a choice for her.
At first, I was completely dead against bisexuals because of my past experiences. I mean, we all make our choices based on our past experiences, and mine have had terrible experiences with bisexuals and straight women. But after meeting a few people that have finally realize that they are simply bisexual. They do love who they love, and that's it. It's that simple. It's not that I don't think it's a phase anymore. I think people go through phases, some of them, and some they reach a level where they're like, it's not a phase anymore. I'm just bisexual. But it doesn't take away from the fear that I have. It's not an insecurity. It's more like maybe it is an insecurity, but I don't. And I've said this countless times. I don't want to fight against the world for you. Like I can't handle half of the world for you. Like if I have to like literally compete with everybody on this planet, then it's a lot of pressure.
I think that's why bisexuals in general kind of get a lot of, pushback from the lesbian community, not because we don't think they're real, but I think it's a defense mechanism, like,
exactly.
are you a bisexual that
scared.
is gonna ultimately end up with a guy? I mean, I don't know if I wanna make myself vulnerable to that. Or are you an actual bisexual and you're feeling me right now, we're gonna have a relationship and, you're committed.
I think one of the difficult things that have happened, kind of going back to, is it a phase? Are you with this person for whatever reason? Are you experimenting? Is that I don't think a lot of people that don't live, that the people that aren't very much straight or very much gay, if you're in the middle, whether it's a phase at that moment in time or it's you have equal attractions to men and women, I think a lot of times those people might not do a very good job of communicating, like, this is how I feel, these are my relationships, this is what I'm looking for, so that, unfortunately, it puts that person in a situation with someone who is gay, that's like, I am a woman, I want to be with women, and this is a committed relationship I want to be in, and that person that they want to have a committed relationship with is not clear on what they want or who they are, so that the relationship might be starting off on a foot where you guys think you're on the same page and you're not. And really that person is experimenting, or that person doesn't really know who they are, so that it's really unfortunate for the other person who very much knows who they are and very much knows the kind of relationship they want. So I think it's unfortunate that it takes some people a while to figure out who they are and what they want, and they don't do a good job of communicating to their partners. Yeah. And so that it puts people in that like difficult situation. I mean, I feel like for you, like I had to do, I was
it was a lot of
trying-
work,
It's
man.
a lot of work for her to
It's
understand
bisexual
and
identity.
clearly communicate it, because I was just kind of like, I didn't really think about my identity or what it meant. I was just like, this is what it is. But if you're dating someone who very clearly identifies, like, you are a lesbian, you want to be with women, like, I need to be able to give you assurance that this relationship is real. I'm not just like,
Well, and it was
whatever.
hard for us to start dating because I was on an island somewhere, she was up in New York, and we were just dating, so there was no commitment there. But while we were dating, she was also dating dudes. Like, that was really difficult.
We were not in a committed relationship.
That was hard for me to wrap my head around. Once we became committed, I'm just like, okay, well, so
How can you
with
stop all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Would you feel just as unsure if she was also dating girls, if you weren't committed?
Which I
and she
also was
still-
I mean, she was dating girls. I mean, you weren't dating. You were hooking up with girls. She wasn't dating guys, but like she was consistently dating certain people like for months. And
so
I'm
she
just
was
like,
consistently dating girls for months.
no.
It wouldn't bother you as much, or you wouldn't even enter into it.
I think if she was still dating guys, it's her dating guys. It was a problem for me.
I told my mom, and she is in the same boat where she just doesn't really get it. But a lot of stuff has transpired over the last 2 years within my family dynamic where it's this shift now that you have one life, try to be happy. I just want you to be in a happy, functioning, normal relationship. So just like, let's leave it at that, because all of these social norms that people grew up with or what they feel is appropriate is kind of out the window at this point in time. So it was hard for me because I think there's this whole thing where I feel like people feel it's less credible. That's not the most interesting thing about me. So I don't know why people are like, really though? But who, what, I don't understand. Explain to me. Do you care if I'm a good person? Do you care if I'm caring? Do you care who I am attracted to, who I love? Because so many other people have fought so hard for that or for other things that that's what you're going to get bent out of shape on. I could be, I'm not a mother obviously, I could be totally wrong, but if my child came to me and, you know, it took all of that courage to just say, this is how I feel, this is who I am, I was just like, all right, you're happy, I'm good, that's all I really need.
I was just
That's a
about to
great
ask
question.
that.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
do you
know.
finally associate yourself as I'm a lesbian, I'm about to marry this woman, I'm gonna be with her for the rest of my life? Or am I straight now that I went back to men? Because yes, your attractions will always be
But
there.
let's say in some weird alien world you were forced to marry a man, so that changed the fact that you're a lesbian. Why does marriage change that in any way?
Like say 15 or 16 years ago when
Or a relationship. You are who you are and you feel what you feel.
They're committed to the person, that's
Yeah.
who they're committed to.
Right.
When I started dating Kara, I used to hate that she identified as bisexual to her family because I felt like it allowed them that hope
yeah.
of, oh, okay, you're gonna end up with a guy. Even if she went to a bar or something, and she told somebody she was bisexual, it like opened the door for guys to come hit on her and say inappropriate things. Whereas if she was just like, I'm gay, then it kind of puts a halt to guys approaching you. Not always.
I'm sure there's some people that maybe did identify as bisexual or somewhere on the spectrum, and then they did meet their person, whether it's a man or a woman, and let's say it's a gay relationship. They're like, well, I identify now as a lesbian because I've chosen this life. This is my soulmate who I want to spend the rest of my life with.
But the,
For me personally, if I were, let's say we were to break up tomorrow and I marry a man, I would not say, oh, I'm straight. This was just like a moment in time that I dated a girl. I'd say, I'm just with a man now. My sexuality hasn't changed.
You're
I'm
still
just
bisexual.
committed. Yeah, I just committed to a person. I've just went into a contract with someone for the rest of my life that we share equally life together. That's how I view it. And if we were to get married, I wouldn't say, oh, well, now I'm a lesbian. I just had a moment in time.
Yeah, like you
where-
still have
yeah.
sexual attraction to other people, just like a
Yeah,
straight couple. Like if you marry a straight person, a straight woman married to a man,
It's not like
it's not like you're not attracted to every man that you see, but you decided on a person. I mean, and that's
Right, but that's just me. However, I don't think that is the same for everyone. I think there are some people that at a time in their life they identify as gay, as straight, as bisexual, as whatever, and then they do end up in a committed relationship with someone, and then they don't identify with what they were before. But that's not me, but I'm sure other people feel that way.
but then they're no longer bisexuals.
Yeah, I guess for some people that is the case.
And that's where I feel like everybody else gets the confusion. That's
Yeah.
not in that.
Because I think for some people, like, their life sexuality is fluid. And for me, at least it is. But for me, it's always fluid. Because just because I was in this relationship, I was living in this place, I like that style, whatever it is, it doesn't change who I was before. But I think for some people, it does. Like, I think some people really do change throughout their life where they don't feel they are the same people they once were. But that's not me.